Alright guys and girls, it's Jerningham here. A report by the Nation adult officer found lacking of transmisie under some of keys to decisions taken. 18 billion of coronavirus contracts were awarded by the government up till the end of July. Sky News has learned that under a child under the age of investigated of the links to fair rights extreme. So what it means by that is people have their own rights. Talking about parties being suspended by following response to reports of increasing human rights as well. They're talking about too. Office figures show the recording of the UK, as we all know about the coronavirus. 20,000 people caught the virus, 589 have died in the UK. The virus pandemic, police officer force are stopping ensure the COVID-19 super fitness in England and Wales over concerns of 10,000 fixed penalties can be cancelled in the court. Looking about Donald Trump, president. The virus pandemic announces a total of 11 councils will be placed under Scotland Yard tongue coronavirus restrictions from 6 p.m. of Friday, UK. Sales of new petrol and diesel cars, vans will be pushed out by 2030 under a 10-point plan. Involvement, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Green, international stuff about things. Hampshire police have appealing for any witnesses after 5 of Apple production was stolen from a lorry during a robbery. Junction 18 on the M1 motorway, UK. More Sky News Daily posts available on all productions platforms every week. Sky News, New Sky.com, your reports from Sky News, Facebook.com Sky News, Sky News Twitter, top stories reported by Nation adults officers. It's going back in a circle. We're going to show the UK now. Increased by 600. There we go. There's the 50,740. 1,725. Yep. Two million people. Level 4 restrictions. Lockdown in Scotland. Friday. They're hoping to ease restrictions in Scotland, but by Christmas. Well, it talks about COVID vaccine, apparently. So you can see there, they're putting a needle in his arm. And there will be big differences, yeah. He's saying there's 2 vaccinations pre-made, mixing anything. When you're sort of mixing it beyond the syringe, drop the fluid, mix the fluid, new needle to inject. This is all pre-filled, but he's got in his hand the injection needle, as you can see there. Crazy world, eh? the guy's saying here, we need as much help as possible. We need many vaccines to get out there, he was saying. I've not unplugged the controller, that's why I'm telling you what it's called. So keeping you guys and girls up to date. Getting us out this current pandemic treatment. The supporters get the support training get. There's the. They're saying 2 vaccines always ready and the 3rd could be on the way. Carry out the mass vaccination. St. John Ambulance insists with the right training and poor deployed. May have to be vaccines can work. Spirits, right. Routers. So the vaccine's nearly here. Sites urgent. Similar time here. GP surgery. Doing stand. Steels. Change freezers. Houses. Phone. Director. Big enough. 8,000 people a week. Total says he needs more information to pass on. That's a detail expected to be publicly 3 days. Joshi, Sky News. This lady can get in touch with WhatsApp. There's the mobile number on the screen now. 6:13. There's even. Hopes for help. COVID vaccine. Additional. Apparently, there's more tougher things and theories across Scotland, across the belt. More people are struggling. Still for the side what happened. Lockdown is due to be lifted early December. We're going to pause this and we're going to get more into this. All these people are talking about this. As you can see, they put all lights up, everyone. Ridiculous, isn't it? Everyone seems to be struggling in this world, doing things and trying to get on with things and trying to understand the world for what it is. And some other people don't understand the world, but we're all individuals. And let's listen to a bit more of what's going to be said on the TV news. I had to pause it to put the volume on. So there we go.
Mine, my daughter-in-laws, my daughters, whoever, and that's not going to happen this year because we're all staying in our own house.
It's the one day of the year you should spend it with your family, really, I think. So we'll see what happens.
When the UK went into its second lockdown, the Prime Minister said this.
Christmas is going to be different this year, perhaps very different, but it's my sincere hope and belief that by taking tough action now, we can allow families across the country to be together.
But it's still not clear how together will be. In Scotland today, Nicola Sturgeon put 11 councils into the highest tier restrictions with the hope to reduce infection levels in those areas in time to ease things for Christmas.
At these levels, we would not have the flexibility we need to ease restrictions over Christmas, which, in common with the other UK nations,
there's a Scottish lady, Nicola Sturgeon,
So what
Prime Minister.
will the UK government do when lockdown is due to end on December the 2nd?
If we came out of lockdown, then I fear that the level of infectivity in the country would be just too high. And by the time we got to Christmas, we'd have to have another lockdown.
Scientists also warn that easing restrictions too much on Christmas Day will lead to a post-Christmas lockdown hangover. For the government and those involved in virus control, this is the nightmare before Christmas. What to do? about a festive season that involves collective coming together, the mingling of generations across the UK, the thing we've been avoiding doing for so long, and perhaps the one day of the year when people won't be told who they can and can't have lunch with.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish...
Many shoppers here at Osterley Garden Centre in Middlesex say a Merry Christmas means with their family.
We don't want to be lawbreakers, but at the same time we don't want to be too sad. So I think it's going to be interesting.
I definitely want to see my family. I haven't seen my family for months.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see my family. But there again, if it keeps us safe by keeping us away, then that's what I'll do.
News of 2 vaccines has brought festive optimism and raised the prospect of light at the end of the tunnel. But sadly, a sociable Christmas could push that light further away. Jason Farrell, Sky News.
Now, the government is bringing forward a ban on new petrol and diesel cars and vans from 2040 to 2030. The announcement comes as part of a wider package of green initiatives aimed at transforming the economy. Our climate change correspondent, Lisa Holland, reports.
Less than 1% of cars on the road in the UK are currently completely powered by electric. That means a radical transformation is needed, not only of the charging infrastructure, but also the manufacture of electric vehicles.
I think it is possible to transform the infrastructure if government and local authorities are totally committed to it. But without that commitment, then a target of 10 years' time is incredibly optimistic.
Transport is the biggest emitting sector in the UK, generating a third of the UK's carbon emissions. The way we travel and the kind of energy we use are some of the biggest changes Britain will see in the next decade in an attempt to tackle climate change. The 10-point plan includes ending the sale of new petrol and diesel vehicles by 2030 instead of 2040. Hybrid vehicles will still be sold until 2035. Wind, nuclear and hydrogen will be key components of a green grid, with plans for a town heated entirely by hydrogen by the end of the decade. And the government wants the UK to be a leader in green technology, in particular carbon capture and storage, which sucks carbon out of the air. The government says it's investing £12 billion in its climate strategy, but analysts have told Sky News only £4 billion of that is new money. Labour says the announcement falls short of what's required, but the Independent Committee on Climate Change, which advises the government how to get to net zero, has welcomed the plan.
I'm just so pleased to see the Prime Minister make a statement like this. It's a really bold statement of ambition, and it's great to see a Prime Minister of Britain set out a vision like this. What's missing, I suppose, is the roadmap to achieving it.
Is this enough for Britain to meet its target of being net zero by 2050?
It's not enough alone, but my goodness, it will progress the issues.
The pressure is on Boris Johnson to show leadership on climate change. This plan is a start, but it's a long road to net zero by 2050. Lisa Holland, Sky News.
The English Cricket Board says it recognises that it has a long way to go to drive out racism after 2 former umpires accused it of discrimination. John Holder, who stood in 11 test matches, said he suspected the ECB had a policy of only employing whites after no non-white umpires were appointed since he retired 11 years ago. Our sports correspondent Martha Kalner spoke to him and colleague Ismail Dawood.
All the players taking a knee.
English cricket has been seen to support diversity and inclusion. Players taking the knee here before the West Indies test in the summer. But the reality, some say, is very different. In 1999, the renowned writer Matthew Engel claimed there was a form of cricketing apartheid from village greensides to the national game. Ishmael, a former county player, and John Holder, a former first-class umpire, say not much has changed. They've united to call for an investigation into the England and Wales Cricket Board by the Equality and Human Rights Commission.
The whole structure of the ECB is to the core institutional racism, the last bastion of colonialism.
Ishmael played county cricket before beginning an umpiring career. He says his race held him back.
The glass ceiling for people of a BAME background is very low, minimal. It's minimal in coaching. Like I said, it's practically non-existent in umpiring. So glass ceiling is very low. And it's very low because the structures that are put in place have never been examined. And we're calling that out.
Well, you don't bother running for that one either.
For almost 3 decades, John Holder was a professional umpire. He is appalled that since 1992, not a single non-white umpire has been appointed to the first class list.
I have no doubt that I would have been dissuaded from becoming an umpire.
Because you're a black man?
Absolutely. I have no doubt that the fact that no one in the last 11 years since I've retired, no one has come through to get to the top. And I have no doubt that it's because of their colour.
In a statement, the ECB said, today's group of professional umpires don't reflect the diverse ECB we're determined to be. We want to see more BAME representation among our officials and recognise we still have a long way to go as a game to achieve this. Holder and Dawood are not alone in claiming discrimination in cricket. In September, Azim Rafiq claimed that institutional racism at Yorkshire County Cricket Club drove him to the brink of suicide. The questions for English cricket are mounting. They're under pressure to come up with some convincing answers. Martha Kellner, Sky News.
Well, coming up on Sky News, we've got the sport. And a Manchester City player helped Spain inflict Germany's heaviest competitive defeat. Action from an extraordinary result in Seville next.
Wow. Don't know what else is next on the news, but it's going for the weather patterns, is it? Hand! The holy hand! Hello. 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 His hand.
Time for the sport now. Here's Ed.
Nah.
We start with a record defeat for Germany's footballers.
If you guys and girls want to watch more of the sport, if you like it, you can watch it on Sky News or any other news. Anyway, thanks for joining this video. Hope you all liked it. Give it a like, give it a comment, and share it with your friends. Peace.